Well, good morning, everybody. It is May the 9th, and it's time for this week's installment of Friday Coffee. Right, so welcome back, or welcome to this series of videos that we've been doing every Friday, acting, among other things, as a slow burn Q&A session. So later in the video, we'll be answering questions that were asked in the comments from last Friday. And if you want me to answer questions on camera of yours, then leave those questions in the comments on this video, and I'll answer them to the camera next Friday. In the meantime, though, we're going to do our usual routine here. We're going to hit some highlights, then we're going to do the Q&A session, and then we'll also give you some previews of what's coming up. Starting right away, though, with the highlights, we had last Sunday, that was the part one of our Blue Ridge Parkway adventure. Now, Liz and I actually filmed that in late fall 2024, right before Hurricane Helene came through and nearly wiped the places we visited off the map. Massive flooding in that area of North Carolina, and it didn't seem appropriate at the time to publish a video being like, hey, you should come visit here, because these people were trying to like dig out at that point. And so we had, rather than publishing that video, we went and scrounged up a bunch of stuff and took an NSX full of, medical supplies, water, and other like non-perishable food stuff. And, you're just sort of like, I don't know what you call that, grooming kit types of supplies over to, actually handed them off to Adam LZ's crew, because they made a pass through Knoxville before making a delivery over to that area. Large trailers, lots of logistics and people to help them. We weren't going to be able to make it over the mountain on our own and not really accomplish anything, but we could contribute where we could there. So it was really good. Again, props to Adam LZ and his channel and crew for doing all that stuff. I know there are a few other YouTubers that did things as well. I know, Cletus flying his helicopter up there and rescuing people was freaking awesome to watch. But I don't have a helicopter. But anyway, now that places, though, however many months later, places are starting to reopen and actually do need people to come and visit. And, because a lot of these places in the mountains over there, make a lot of their economies are tourist economies, so they depend on people coming and visiting and staying there, eating there, buying souvenirs and doing activities, rafting and hiking and stuff like that then support the economy. And then so they need your business now, is what we're saying. So this felt like a good time to go ahead and get this one out the door. Kind of acknowledging the time gap in the videos, but hopefully people have enjoyed those, or they've inspired folks to go visit this summer and kind of continue to help that area recover. And then on Wednesday, you watched our walkthrough of the Porsche Platica event, which is an amazing Porsche-centric event put on by our friends at Harper Auto Square. It's the Harper network of dealerships around here. And I say friends because we are happy customers of their Porsche store. That's where we bought our Volkswagen. Well, it wasn't a Porsche, sadly. And we've also had a very long and fruitful relationship with the parts desk at their Acura shop. So we have good rapport there with them as businesses, as well as their people that put on events. I'm friends with a few of them, but they absolutely crushed it this year. Knoxville's not a massive market. Certainly not an 18 Carrera GTs in one place market typically, there's stuff that I saw stuff there that was more rare. There's Chupon 962 CR. There's one of 6. And we get this in Knoxville. Anyway, that's worth a watch if you're, honestly, and certainly is something to mark your calendars for next May. I assume they're going to continue to do it. Thus far, these first 2 years, tickets have been free for general admission at least. And the only thing you would pay extra for is if you're a Porsche Club member or Porsche owner, you could pay some amount and have parking right next to the venue because it is kind of limited. Otherwise, you park up the street. There's a huge lot, and they were shuttling people back and forth, which that was super easy this year. It was a little bit of a challenge the first year, but they clearly saw the problem and fixed it for this year, which props for that. But I'm putting my event planner hat on there for a second. But yeah, it's an amazing thing to have in Knoxville. It would be worth traveling for. It's only a one-day event, but yeah, if you want to see some stuff, and if they keep raising, I don't know how much more they can raise the bar, but it is very high, and they will probably continue to push. So, hope you enjoyed that on Wednesday. If not, go to give it a look, and also you can be able to find better photos than we took, probably elsewhere on the internet if you search for Porsche Platica. But that brings us to our Q&A section now. Having done our highlights, let me get over here and read my screen for a minute. I'll apologize. So we'll start out here with our friend John Hall asking, if you had to do one of the following changes to the NSX, would it be ITB, a turbo setup of some kind, or a supercharger of some kind? That's a very good question, probably. I got a quick answer though. It's ITBs all day, every day for me. If money no object, and I had all the dyno time in the world and the eng development time in the world to do that, I would probably stroke the motor, put ITBs on it, and then tune the absolute snot out of it to make it as close to OEM flexibility as I could. The reason we didn't do any of these things when we had to rebuild the car was because of the flexibility we need from the tune. We have literally done this. We have driven from, over 12,000 feet in elevation up over, I think, the Eisenhower Tunnel on I-70 in Colorado, and driven more or less straight to Thermal Club in Southern California, which is the lowest altitude racetrack in the world. It is below sea level, to do a track day. And that's real hard to accomplish without some kind of fancy, either being able to hot swap tunes or hot swap maps or something like that. Really hard to do with a standalone ECU. So that's why we went the direction we ended up going, to stick with the factory ECU, which has had all of that tuning time put into it. As far as as far as why that versus the other two FI options, I think that the ITBs philosophically would be the ultimate. It's taking the NSX ethos to sort of its logical conclusion, right? It was intended to be lightweight, raw, high revving, driver engaging, NA. Just for me, it would be the purist approach, I think. So there. All right, so moving on. Great question. The next one is, your road trips, is from Acura2G. Your road trips have taken you to many tracks across the nation, but what is the best driving route or road that we've found kind of in between? Calling out, if it's the Tail of the Dragon, the second best. I'll get this out of the way. It's not the Tail of the Dragon. I think the Tail of the Dragon, it is the most intense road that I may have driven, at least the most intense road that I've driven with any intent to attack it. I think the best road, that's a tough one, because there have been a few. There's some roads in North Georgia that are amazing, kind of Dragon-esque, but for different reasons. If anybody was at NS Expo 2023, we drove some of those. A lot of traffic on those, though. Some sections of those, which was unfortunate. Not just NSX traffic, for that matter. But I don't know. I would say probably, off the top of my head, I'm not gonna remember the name of the highway. I'll put it on the screen. I'll find it while I'm editing and put it on the screen. But it's the some of the national park, one of the national park roads around Mount Hood in Oregon. We were up there for NS Expo 2021, and they did their Scenic drive from our the resort that it was based at, that's south of Portland, and then took this road up over and around Mount Hood, up to the Columbia River Valley, and that was amazing. As far as the combination of fun to drive, well maintained, not much traffic, and incredibly scenic. Like, any way you looked, it was, at least for being from somebody from the East Coast. I know big pine forests are probably the norm for you guys from the Pacific Northwest. But from for an East Coaster, driving through the gigantic pine forests around this, the kind of rugged slopes. So I guess it's a volcano, isn't it? Rugged slopes of the mountain over there, and being able to have the just the elevation change, and then the way the road was, the way in which the road was windy was not as, again, it wasn't so compressed like the Dragon. So in our NSX, we were probably in comfortably in third gear for most of it. You'd go down to the top of second or something like that to get out of a, maybe a turn at the bottom of a hill or something like that. But third to fourth, you were in second to fourth gear, whereas at the Dragon, you're barely out of second gear most places. It's like second, third gear. If you're adventurous, there's a couple of hairpins on the way up that you might go to first gear if you were, if you could rev match well enough. So, yeah, that's probably it. I think from the combination of roads, probably the roads we've done that are maybe a little more view centric that we've driven, and there are roads that are more challenging. But as far as the combo of the two, that's probably it. So anyway. Thanks for those questions. Those are all great. It's definitely food for thought on both cases. But as far as what is coming up, so this Sunday you can look forward to part 2 of our Blue Ridge Parkway adventure. We're going to wrap that up. It was a little longer. After I got it all kind of put together, it was longer than I expected. So I was like, I'm going to split this up for, I know people's attention spans are what they are. So we split that one up. And then you will want to pay attention on Wednesday. That's all I'm going to say about that. You will want to pay attention on Wednesday, the following. And then I think after that, we should be roundabout due for track of the month after that. So that's what you can look forward to. And that's what you've been watching. And those are your questions answered. And dude's mowing my lawn, which I appreciate. So on that note, you guys all have a wonderful weekend and a good rest of your Friday. And until next time, I'm Richard. This is Lap of the World. We'll see you guys in the next video, if not at the track.